你唔同我合作，係改變唔到歷史嘅。
Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. My name is Richard Kuklinski, and this is my review of Iceman, the Time Traveler. In 2014, Donnie Yen gave us Iceman. Iceman ends with an obvious setup for a sequel, and now, 4 short years later, we have it. Iceman the Time Traveler tells the story of a group of people contractually bound to release a movie for reasons we'll probably never know, but most likely having to do with money. Not that anyone's gonna pay to watch this abomination. Who could possibly be that stupid? How bad is Iceman the Time Traveler? As we speak, Donnie Yen and the producers of the film are suing each other over who's to blame. I can't decide if each side hopes to win or lose. I think they should all be charged with crimes against cinema. But what do I know about movies, right? Well, I know I took my shoes off during the screening because there was already such a powerful stink in the cinema that there's no way I could make it any worse. In fact, in an attempt to improve my experience of watching this film, I occasionally extinguished lit matches on my testicles. It didn't help. It did make me glad the movie was only 87 minutes, though. The only person that could possibly be happy about Iceman the Time Traveler being released in 2018 is Barbara Wong. But sorry, Babs, even Iceman the Time Traveler is better than Girls vs. Gangsters. Donnie Yen's only going to get second worst film of 2018. Unless Ip Man 4 comes out for Christmas. But I doubt it, because Christmas isn't a Chinese holiday. And we all know what it is. Western taint! But let's be serious for a moment, folks, because xenophobia is nothing to laugh at. Maybe that's why Iceman the Time Traveler is such a cheerless experience. The film opens with a seemingly interminable voiceover/recap of the story thus far, and includes the well-known observation that, quote, history cannot be changed, unquote. Which is rich, coming from people who didn't seem to realize that you can't unrelease a movie that proves 3 minutes into its running time that it should have stayed unreleased. But hey, 4 minutes into the movie, it demonizes Japan. Yes, I checked. 4 whole minutes. Because Japan is evil, and this movie is for China. More on that later, and yes, I said moron. Speaking of which, this film tries really hard to be philosophical. You can tell because at one point Eva Huang says to Donnie Yen, "You're so philosophical." Must be true, right? Let's face it, any movie could employ the age-old metaphor of choosing a road down which to travel life's journey. It's not like you have to actually show a road. Filmmakers don't need to be that pedestrian, pun distended, sick. But Iceman, the Time Traveler, would never be that abstract or subtle. So when Donnie has to choose which road to travel down his life's journey, he actually is choosing a road. And I guess just to reinforce the idea that all time exists in some strange metaphysical present, at least I think that's what the seemingly requisite pseudoscientific babble in the dialogue was saying, this 16th century dirt road has tire tracks in it. Now, it must be a knowing reference to intellectually sound theories about the nature of time. It's either that or a grade school cock-up that virtually everybody in the production was too stupid to ever notice. Our lines are open, you be the judge. Oh, wait, the guy that answers the phone at that production office is probably still busy trying to figure out how Eva Huang recharges her iPhone in the 16th century. Maybe it just runs on the constant current of Japanese evil that apparently is always there, no matter what century you're in. This movie shows us that Japan has been evil since ancient times. They're the bad guys in all 3 time periods that the movie takes place in. Their evil is timeless, like their portrayals in Donnie Yen movies. See? Speaking of which, air pollution has also been a part of China since ancient times. See? Now, on some level, I kind of got the feeling that Donnie Yen was just making a feature-length homage to that old Dave Chappelle Show skit. Donnie Yen stars in time Japan haters. I especially liked the parts of Iceman the Time Traveler where the dialogue tried to sound really dramatic. Desolation abounds, the corrupt hold power, thieves run rampant. Obviously all of this is Japan's fault. I wonder if Japan is to blame for the four main characters starting out all essentially the same age, but then later on their ages are all decades apart. It must be something to do with time travel. It's either that or the filmmakers are just, dumb as rocks. Some of you watching this are probably uninterested in anything but the action scenes. And you're going to call me names if I don't talk about them and hope that Donnie Yen beats me up because he's so tough that his penis has knuckles. Well, I will talk about the action scenes because what Iceman the Time Traveler tells us is that undercranking has been part of China since ancient times. But as long as you're going to be asking questions, why is Donnie's ancestral home a cheap movie set that looks like it was used for a children's television show? And why is it that Chinese women have apparently been very shallow human beings obsessed with beauty since ancient times? They've also apparently eaten chocolate to cope with their feelings about boys for the same amount of time. It's either that or the people who wrote this movie are egregiously outdated Neanderthals. Digression. At least Iceman the Time Traveler is not a film that claims to empower women while objectifying them and making them look bad. So it's another reason why it's much better than Girls vs. Gangsters. It's still hot garbage though. Simon Yam goes to see a corpse in the morgue and the guy in the morgue tells him it still has a pulse. Then why is it in the morgue? As shocking as it may seem, looking for logic in this movie would be like finding a statuette with the words Best Actor Donnie Yen engraved on it. Ain't gonna happen. The emotional climax of the film is a touching montage of all the times in both Iceman movies that Donnie Yen fails in any way to be convincing in a romantic context, even in close physical proximity to Eva Huang. For Donnie Yen cannot love, he can only not kill. Speaking of which, a good indicator of the level of logic in Iceman the Time Traveler is that sawed-off shotgun with a front sight. At the climax of the film, 16th century Donnie is fighting with a Japanese general on top of a train from 1927 while hurtling through some kind of time warp tunnel that's not explained. It was roughly at this point in the screening that Andrei Tarkovsky's ghost leaned over to me and said, "What the is this? I'm confused." Nobody in this movie ever really explains how the time machine works, and it never works the same way twice. But, it was the climax of the movie, so it had to go big, right? I mean, who needs sense when you have Donnie Yen? Somehow, Donnie Yen always seems to have possession of the key to the time machine, which is called the Linga. No, really. Even in the Chinese subtitles, it's in English, see? In fact, at one point, it sure seems like Donnie keistered the Linga, which at least explains the expression on Simon Yam's face. But I'll probably never get an explanation for why Donnie Yen salutes Mao Zedong's portrait in Tiananmen Square. But to be fair, Iceman the Time Traveler isn't all bad. We do get subtitled gems like, "But with all of Hong Kong searching for me, I have to completely change my look." He may not be a criminal, but that jacket is guilty of attempted leather. Now let's face it, if you have a problem in a movie, dialogue can be a lifesaver. If you suck it hard enough. The ugly reality of, reshoots after the fact can easily be glossed over with lines like, "I cut my hair to look like yours." Time travel is a great way to rationalize, or ignore, seemingly arbitrary changes in costume that would normally render continuity irrelevant. Besides, who's gonna notice? Probably the same people not expected to notice that the visual effects in this movie are so old that they're in 480. Or a green screen that was so glaringly bad I got a migraine. Rather than have two sets of, time machine effects footage because it's expensive, they save money by just running it backwards the second time. On some weird level, I feel like this movie could work as some kind of experiment involving found footage, 72 hours of leftover filming obligations, and a drug-induced disregard for narrative. Call it Fear and Loathing in Hangdian. We were somewhere near Wenzhou at the foot of the mountains when the ginseng began to take hold. Maybe the makers of Iceman the Time Traveler got a subsidy from the Chinese government to make movies tailored for an audience of people who've suffered traumatic brain injuries. It's as good as explanation as any, and, it would be philanthropy. I mean, in the final 20 minutes, this movie gives up any pretense whatsoever of making sense, and any attempt to do so on your part would result in a brain injury. So maybe if you already have one, Iceman the Time Traveler seems like Lawrence of Urumqi. I'm not really sure why, but watching this movie, after it had been dubbed into Cantonese, it felt like turd polishing. And the only reason I say that is because, in the spirit of erring on the side of optimism, Iceman 3 Time Toilet is gonna rule. I didn't enjoy this movie, but you might. Go watch it. But you better hurry up, because it ain't gonna be in cinemas long. I'm not even sure they'll even put it on DVD, but if they do, buy it. Don't steal it, because then you'll be really stupid. If you enjoyed my review, please let me know, and if you didn't, let me know. If you enjoy the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.